And I'll ping Ellison real quick just to make sure since it's a little different of a meeting.
Yeah.
She said she had an in-person meeting at 1 and she'd be joining late.
Good.
Or
Good.
that ends at 1. It goes right until 1.
I guess while y'all are here, I've spoken with Ellison about this, but we requested a Sapphire's email address so that it'll
Okay.
be easier since there's so many of us kind of interacted on this. That way nothing kind of gets lost when someone goes on vacation or is out. I talked with ETS today and they said they should have that soon. So you should get individual emails from ETS about accessing it. And you can just kind of go within your Outlook and do open another mailbox. So it should be fairly easy. One of Tammy's concerns with this was just that we'll have to determine who's checking it, how often, just to make sure it doesn't kind of, fall into the ether. But I think it will be helpful as far as, kind of if someone else has to pick up where someone else has left off, or especially with y'all kind of sharing field duties. And then I'll likely also be using it for another portion of the Sapphires study to communicate with weatherization agencies. But in that case, I'll go in and kind of set up a plan of like, if it's flagged in this color, it's for that, and y'all can ignore it. So once it's open, I'll be able to kind of coordinate that a little easier.
Okay, I was gonna suggest that in the many times I've had to use group emails or whatever. I think as long as you know what to look for, things shouldn't get really missed, but I guess you still kind of need that gatekeeper of what to categorize, like a message for someone or whatever. But
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've had to do that before with massive pharmacovigilance studies and stuff, and it's rest of world inbox. So yeah, it gets messy. So this is a much smaller scale, and I'm hoping if we can like stick to color pattern, and maybe I'll check it every day and be like triage, that's fine. But we'll figure that out once they actually give me access.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan.
Oh, and Dom, did you find the tablet?
I did. I was able to find it. Sorry, I would keep pestering you for it. I
No,
found
I
it.
put it like real, like an Easter egg hunt.
Okay. Ellison, I don't know if you're.
Hi, I'm walking across campus, but I'm
No
here.
worries. No worries.
Sorry for the back-to-back latents.
Well,
I don't know
Ellison,
what
we've gone over thus far. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I didn't know what you guys have already maybe discussed as agenda objectives for meeting today. I don't want to be duplicative.
Yeah, no, so far we just went over kind of some small things going on. I'm working on getting that joint inbox set up, and I was just talking about how we'll manage that, but that's all an issue for the future. And I know that y'all wanted to discuss those field forms today and kind of the nitty-gritty details. So I'm gonna just let y'all talk and I'll record notes.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. I guess I'll say maybe directed towards Dom and Will. What I had in mind for today was just to go through I guess the field initiation form seems like the most useful guide for the conversation, but I just wanted to give an opportunity for especially Will to ask any questions you may have about what it should look like in people's homes. Dom, I don't know if there's been any major changes to the form that you want to bring up.
Yeah, no, a lot of the changes have happened in probably like the last 2 weeks. So it was kind of good timing last week when I was able to set up in Will's house, because it was some of that stuff. It was kind of for me seeing it for the first time, and kind of knowing what I'm looking for and what needs to be in there. Let me see. I'm taking a peek. If there's anything. I didn't really come with anything to touch on particularly in there. There's some stuff about like foundation types that I wasn't as familiar with, but Yeah, I'm open to any questions you guys have. Ellison, were you able to kind of follow that file pathing that I was able to send?
I thought
I
I
don't know if
did.
you're able to
Yeah.
find that. Okay.
I have to. Yeah, sit down.
Sorry, I think you cut out
You're
for a
just
second
talking
there.
about what's in step files.
Yep.
Oh, sorry. Then, yeah, I think I understood that. Can you hear me now?
Now we can.
Yeah, it's a little bit more clear.
Okay. Okay, because I'm getting set up in my Scott office. I think when I walk into that building, it always shifts from cell to the CSU net. Well, maybe I'll just ask you directly. Can you comment on like when?
Sorry, you cut out.
Sorry, Ellison, I don't know. Sorry, and she dropped. Okay.
She might try and reconnect, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I know the struggle all too well.
Yeah.
I guess while we're waiting for that, waiting for her to log back on, we had talked during my setup about some photos or something like that that might be able to share with the participants who are, sounds like they're ready to commit, but just kind of want to see more of that. Do we have anything that could be shared with them? Maybe not today, but maybe on Monday.
Yeah, in terms of just the actual loggers themselves, kind of how they're set up and what to expect in that case.
Yeah, because I mean, I took a picture of the hobos, and we have a picture of the manometers in my home, and then the weather station. I can take a picture of the tap, but I kind of want to tidy it up first a little bit. I wasn't too concerned with the aesthetic of it being in my home. I'm the only one here. It doesn't bother me, but um, I think I might try and, without disturbing it, kind of maybe, I don't know.
Tighten it up a little bit. No, that makes sense. I also think for them, it might be better. Tammy has taken some pictures of what the wall taps actually look like. Actually like the drilled hole, which
Okay.
is more likely what they would be experiencing. Unless obviously there's some problem and they need for it to go through windows or doors or whatever. Or have a situation like yours where they don't have
Mhm.
cooling. It might be more necessary to do through windows and doors. So I agree. I think the pictures we have are okay. If you want to tidy them up and have some better looking pictures, that
Well,
for sure.
if they're better at Tammy's house, then that's fine. I think one thing, me just thinking about anticipating a question that someone might ask, is how we're going to like patch that up, or once the tap is gone.
Yep.
I'm very much anticipating some hesitation with us going through someone's wall.
Hmm.
Some people might be like, oh yeah, sure, or I think part of it might just be like, yes, we're going to do this, but we can have it, good as new when, when we're done or something
Yeah.
like that. So,
Right. Yes, I think that's definitely a good idea. As of right now, I don't think we have any actual like patch up jobs to document. I think
Mhm.
honestly we could do like a test hole at Tammy. I hesitate to just volunteer Tammy's house and just have drills pulled randomly through her walls, but kind of as it's still being measured at her place, if we could get just like another example hole and then figure out our process for filling those out, because that is something that I'm a little wary of, even having not tested it yet. So I mean, and I anticipate it just being it's a pretty small hole, just using some like spackle or whatever it is to kind of cover that up. But I have thought about it, and I don't know if people want to be like the spackle to be painted over. I don't know. It's something that we haven't really tested yet, so I'm worried a little bit about it. So yeah, I think it would be good to have an example, a picture that we can provide for them, what it'll look like afterwards.
Hmm.
Hi, well, thanks for bringing that up. Sorry, I'm back.
Okay, I didn't hear your question, but I figured you were just resetting your connection. So we just
Yeah, you know
talked about
how it
something
is coming back into the Scott building. I feel like everything just has to start over. So this is the kind of stuff I actually wanted to talk about. Although we are viewing the Epic Homes as sort of a pilot in some ways in advance of the real tech, I think to enter into people's homes, we should assume that they want a really clear, confident answer about anything that they ask.
Mhm.
And that, can be a confident answer about our uncertainty. Like, we are very confident that this noise is low and is not noticed by many people, or it is noticed by some people, but is tolerable for the length of time we do the measurement. But I think anything that is study participant facing needs to be confidence instilling and have like really good bedside manner. One of the main reasons why I think Will is a major asset for this team is his strengths in this regard. But for the patching the hole, I think we absolutely must have examples that we can show people and say, yes, we understand that this is an uncommon thing, but it's something that other types of home repair teams might do, and we're going to do it to the same level of professionalism that like an Ethernet cable installer would. And then they can still make the decision like, yeah, that's just not for us. And that's fine. Like, the fact that you have hesitancy even in Tammy's house, I think is indicative of the reluctance I think we all feel. Like, can we just somehow avoid having to put holes in people's walls, even if they're very manageable? And I think something like being able to say, we are happy to take it all the way to the point of completion where we've provided the paint and painted over it, or we're happy to supply you with a sample of paint, or take a paint chip to Home Depot and get it matched. Like, I think that's the level that we need to offer. And then people can back off and be like, oh, you know what? It's not a big deal. We have some leftover paint. We can do it ourselves. Like, that's a much better conversation than like, yeah, we think we can handle this. It'll be fine. Like, we know we'll fill it in really well. I think then people are going to want us to go to Home Depot and get the paint matched. So that's something I've been giving some thought to leading into this conversation. And if we need to find a few people, within the Powerhouse community, or I don't know what the status is for Christian's house, just places where we can have this is what it looks like for us to put in this hole and then fix it and bring it back to, you wouldn't even know that there was a hole there. That's what I think we need to be able to show people.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure. Kind of the last conversation we had with Christian, I don't think he's
A candidate house.
still a candidate that would
Okay.
want to participate, just in this kind of state that we're in right now. But yes, I agree. I think having the more test subjects and kind of guinea pigs we have to test it out and make sure that we have covered all our bases, like you said, is important.
I guess one thought that came to mind that I haven't asked Paul about, but I haven't seen the state of his like house of pressure.
Mhm.
I don't know that we need, another person's home if there's not a good candidate. I think we just need to demonstrate that we've thought through every step that's required to make up for the harm we do to their home, and have pictures that sort of reflect that. Because I think really what instills the confidence is like, we've already anticipated what this means to you, and we're going to address it and make it better than new. So if we don't have a good like example home right now to go into, I wonder if just a wall in the powerhouse would work. Like maybe the blue wall or something, so it looks like a real wall or something. But Paul's house of pressure comes to mind as being a something where we could show what it looks like. Is that something you've already talked about with him, or maybe not? We could.
No, definitely. I think that's actually a really good idea. I haven't talked to him recently, but it has been progressing a lot more. I think it is getting closer to completion, so I think could pass off as like a real house, a real house.
Yeah, I think it's
yes,
at
I
least
think
at the scale of the photos that we would take, right?
right. I think that's a really good idea. We'll send Paul a note about that. I don't think he'd have any problem. I mean, honestly, they have manometers plugged into it, I believe, already. Or at
Yeah,
least one or two. So there may be taps through the wall already that we can just kind of commandeer. Yeah.
yeah,
I think
that's
really
what I
good.
think would, yeah, I was wondering if he already had some taps, like, because they've been doing some pressure measurements. I guess he gets back also on the 19th, but maybe we could just get permission to take some action in those homes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tammy did take photos of the taps through the walls at her place. But she didn't, it doesn't look like saved them to the drive, or at least anywhere that I can find. So I put a screenshot from the video that, or from our meeting recording in the chat. In case we really need something to use in the meantime, since her and Paula both have kind of extremely intermittent internet.
Yeah.
So in case someone's really burning to know that, and we're trying to give them information, we at least have pictures of the 1/8 inch hole with the little.
It goes all the way through the exterior wall too, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Which,
So I think, oh, go ahead, sorry. Go.
well, I'm thinking, really all we need to talk about, I mean, just the assurance of the whole, like, no trace that we were there type thing.
Right.
Anything in between the wall, it's either blank or has some kind of insulation, so we're not damaging anything in between there. But I think it being so small, and I agree with you, Ellison, just saying like, this is the assurance that we can speak positively, like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and when we're done, you won't even know that it was there type thing.
Mhm.
I think it's always helpful to also have an analogy to something that they're familiar with. And I think this was mentioned before, maybe by Tammy or Paul, or I'm sorry if it was one of you. Especially in Fort Collins, people are maybe familiar with Fort Collins Connection, going to homes and installing the fiber optic cables.
Mhm.
Of course, if you have to get the internet installed at your home in the first place, which is more rare in Fort Collins homes, now that it's been more available for the last couple decades. But I think saying like, what we are going to do is like this other thing that is happening to lots of homes and is addressable, but still may not be preferable. And so we don't have to say that it still may not be preferable, but at least having a go by where we can say, this is what this is like, and this is how they address it. So we're doing it in the same way. Which I think is
agree
really
with that.
up, like those little plastic hole filling things with like a flange. That's what we would be using, right?
Yeah, you said that there's an example of it in, like, you said Fort Collins Connect.
Yeah, Fort Collins Connection is the Fort Collins like Wi-Fi, or what is it, fiber optic?
Yeah, anybody who's had internet or cable installed in their home for the first time
Yeah,
would be going through this same process.
right.
And you're right, unless someone had their, like, I guess if you built a home, your home would already come with this because it's a modern thing, but
Right.
I'm old enough to remember this being done in the early aughts to my parents' home, so.
Same. But I'm gonna guess a lot of people in their homes, even if they were the resident when the initial cables were installed, they may not remember it. So I think what's helpful to communicate, and I feel like I'm belaboring this point, but I really feel like if we go in under guessing how annoying this will be to people, like we're going to like fray that relationship as opposed to like overcompensating by anticipating like that they really do care and they really want to know that they're being taken care of. I think we can use a current example and saying it may not be in your home, but you might have seen trucks for Fort Collins Connection around town. They're installing fiber optic cables, and what they're doing is bringing the internet, cable through the wall. That's much the same as what we're doing here. So it sort of normalizes the practice, right? Thousands of homes are doing this. And also demonstrates, like, because thousands of homes are doing this, the way that this gets handled is something we're going to do with a level of professionalism that isn't just like us taping over the hole, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I kind of said to Don before you like kind of hopped on, is my anticipation is like, oh, I don't know if I want you guys to do this. So
Yeah. Do we have any other possible test homes before we would go to an Epic home? I don't think so right now.
No, not major homes. Will, I know you, and correct me if I'm wrong, you said we might be able to do kind of a tear down reset, maybe, if we feel we need to change our process or kind of advance in some other way. We might be able to kind of reset at your place.
yeah, we have this whole next week to do that. That's fine. I don't have any planned out of town field work. So we can do that anytime, just has to set up, make sure the time works. And I think right now, Wednesday might be the only day that, like Wednesday, the first half of the day until like 2 is the only day I think the only huge block of time I'm really busy. But if you want to do that, just let me know. We can make it happen. Were
Okay.
you saying just to kind of run through it again to kind of, just for that repetition's sake, to kind of see if we can do it I mean, I know we can do it faster, but
Yeah, it was more if we come up with anything today that is really kind of altering to our process.
Yeah.
That you need to get the practice in on. As of right now, I feel pretty confident about it. Like you said, I think we can do it a lot faster and more efficiently. But yeah, if there's anything that we want to try out, I just wanted to make sure it was okay that we could maybe try it at your house.
yep, perfectly fine.
Awesome.
So I guess related to this then is, I know we've talked before about making a sort of sensible selection of the first couple homes. To me, what seems the most sensible is to are you all able to hear right now? Yes.
Yep.
Oh, can you not hear, Taylor? Oh. That'd be strange. Sorry, you can't hear. But Dom and Will, oh, you're good? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. No, what I was wondering, Will, is if you had a thought on what home might be the best first home to go into. If we aren't going to be able to do another pilot, then I think the most important criterion for selecting the first Epic home is the home where we would be, have the least cost of being longer, more clunky, and a little less polished than we'd like to be by the time we get to the third home, let's say.
Well, we have the 2 homes who are ready for the install. Did you know about that next week or the week after? Did you already know about that?
Me?
Yeah.
You probably told me, but nope.
Okay. Yeah. So we have, there's 2 homes on the schedule for the 22nd.
Okay. I'm
already.
sorry. That's my bad.
Oh, no, it's good because I wanted to talk about this anyway. So, Bailey she emailed me yesterday. I haven't gotten back to her yet. I was going to wait till we had this meeting. I think just in our interaction has been like very good, very understanding. I think we as in like our project group has a pretty good rapport with her. I don't know if you remember doing her exit interview.
Mhm.
But I want to email them today or Monday at the latest, just to kind of answer some of those questions, because she's like, oh yeah, I'm ready, but she's like, what is this exactly going to look like? Which is what a lot of people were already asking, and this is kind of what I wanted to talk about last Friday before I
Mhm.
lost connection in the metropolis of Alamosa. But um they I think, and I think that's part of the I think is probably concern on their part, but at the same time they're really open to be a part of this. So I think it's a good home, and I'll level with her. I'll be honest. I'll be like, hey, you're number one. You're the first home, so this might take a little bit longer. We already know the process. You know what we're gonna do, but you know, we're still probably gonna have some questions for you, and I'll, be upfront that we're still, working through a couple kinks, nothing major,
Mhm.
but I think our process is pretty good. This is something that Dom has done multiple times. At least a blower door test I've done multiple times. So I think we got a pretty good plan of action. But yeah, I'll go ahead and explain like, hey, this is what it's going to be. And I think to answer your question, a long-winded way, I think her home is a good home to kind of do that. And then the second home that we're supposed to set up in, which I need to touch base with, that's another one. This was a pretty kind of laid back participant when I was there to do the setup and tear down of their last Epic Homes visit. So I think that one's good. It's just the other home is really weird. It's like 3 levels, but it's split, kind of funny. So that was what, like the weird layout homes, whatever. But yeah,
Okay.
did that answer your question? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry. I feel badly just for not. I know that this information's been relayed to me. Apparently it didn't register, but it sounds like the selection of those homes already sort of meets this expectation in my mind that we would go into homes where, if we're still on the polishing side of the protocol, those are good homes to be in.
And speaking of that, if I'm not sorry if I'm not jumping the agenda, but do we have the kind of that script and everything finalized or whatever? I'm going to talk with her about that.
Yeah, the script I sent over, at least to Ellison. I think you said Ellison was able to forward it to you. I also sent the instruction on how to get to it in the Sapphire's Drive.
Mhm.
But yes, that is finalized. I guess that kind of leads us to Will, me and you were kind of talking both in the install and a little bit earlier. In terms of the consent form, Ellison, we both kind of agreed that it'd be nice for the participants to at least get like a read over of the consent form, kind of what to
Yeah.
expect, all that stuff beforehand, before we just like show up at their door with consent form in hand and kind of
Mhm.
anticipating doing it. And we thought maybe that we could send it over, they could docu-sign it and send it back. That way we have all assurances that they know what they're getting into before we get there. I do want to, I kind of sent over the notes of what me and Will had talked about to Tammy. Just want to make sure kind of what she had to say on the matter. It wasn't much. She said DocuSign can feel weird and formal. So what about sending the consent form over first for their review and then kind of printing it off and bringing it in person when we go so that they can sign if they feel so inclined to sign when we get there. Does that kind of, is that kind of what you expected also, Ellison?
Oh, the email in advance, you mean? As the
Yeah, kind of reaching out in advance first and letting them read it over.
Yeah, I don't see any harm in that. Sorry, I think I'm trying to recalibrate. What are we doing with the consent forms mostly for our own sanity? Because we are not required to do consent since we don't need,
For IRB, that's
yeah,
right.
we're exempt from IRB. So in some ways we don't need consent. We're doing it more as a courtesy and to help ourselves have a more, welcoming experience. And I think as a matter of like professionalism. So I think there's lots of good reasons to do it. I don't feel super strongly, Dom, I guess, because in the past we have showed up at people's doors and it's been fine. We've also emailed in advance and people haven't read stuff. So I think it's fine. I think there's no harm in sending it. Some people may look at it and scrutinize it and have lots of questions. Will can think of a few people in our Epic Homes study that would be like that, and others, maybe wouldn't even open it. So I think it's fine to send it in advance. It seems like a nice
Okay.
courtesy, but it may not be acted upon.
Awesome.
And I just wanted to check, I know initially because of the drilling of the holes, we had said that Tammy or another senior member would come out on these initial visits for kind of initial setup. If one of you, once it's scheduled, could let me know so I can get it on Tammy's calendar while she's out and just make sure that, I don't schedule her with anything else and then we end up
Okay.
scrambling.
The first home did, I think because we put out the 22nd or the 23rd. I just breezed that email again. It is the 23rd in which we would do this. So do you want me to get that time, like the time that she wants us to come by and do the setup, and then I'll let you know so you can make sure someone will be there?
Yeah, let me pull up. Yeah, she's still fairly open on the 23rd. So we can figure all that out, but yeah.
Okay,
make
well,
sure- get it in
how
her
about this? Give me the times that would work best, and then I'll say these are the times that would be best for us to do the setup.
Perfect. Yeah,
Because
that'd
if
be
not, they'll select the time that Tammy can't be there.
And once that email that I was talking about earlier opens up, it also will have a calendar just for Sapphire's Epic. So we can just put in like, these are available times and assign like, this is the field person going out or however we want to do that. But it'll be helpful in this instance as well.
Awesome.
I'm trying to think if there are other discussion items I wanted to bring up. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I think one that doesn't need to take up the group time, but Will, I know you and I probably need to coordinate to discuss Omni readiness. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Were we just not putting them in my home, but are we planning to do them in the first test home or what we calling these, the homes from just the first Epic home, I guess?
I don't know.
Yeah, first, yeah.
Okay, we'll just keep
I
them.
so wanted to drop that term. The study is done and I wanted to drop that term. I'm so tired of saying an epic home. There's like nothing epic about the study or the homes. Sorry. But yeah, it's probably best to call it an epic home because that's certainly where it fits within the overall project scheme.
Okay, yeah, so we have I don't know if I copied you on the email to Christian, so I'm sorry if I didn't, but I'm gonna be doing the swap outs every Monday for the Omnis that are out there in the
Yes.
test area.
Yeah.
We have a week's worth or whatever, a time frame of data already that I think he copied you on. So we just need to go through that sometime this upcoming week. And then if everything's good, we have 8 Omnis that would be ready to go. So Dom, you just let us know how many we need, and then fingers crossed these ones that we did a test of are ready to go.
Okay.
They're ready to go noise wise. I can tell you that they're ready to go noise wise. So they're the
Yeah,
quiet.
no, and also, if it's not too much of a hassle, I'd love to kind of just take a peek at them if you're both, because you guys have been using a dashboard to look at the data that you've been collecting with those, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just to kind of make sure I know what's going on. I'd love to kind of see how you access that, and
So-
not saying that.
Let's
Go
onboard them this week when we come back to my home. I'll give you access to the Aware dashboard, and then we'll go through what it looks like to set them up and how to view all the data and stuff.
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. Because yeah, I know you'd said that they're able to capture kind of temperature, relative humidity. So I think they'd be really good assets in terms of some of like this stratification that we've been seeing in homes. So we don't have to use as many thermistors. We can kind of dual purpose them and get some data from them. I think that'd be great.
Okay, I'll send that today. The
Okay,
access today.
awesome. Thank you.
And I just have a question, as far as the floor plan mapping that we planned, did we ever figure out what we're doing?
Yeah, so we did do kind of a floor. I created a floor plan for Will's house. I kind of wanted to get Tammy's input before I made any decision, because I mean, it looks fine to me, but I think she's been the one that's kind of questioned their viability or kind of what you can gain from them. So I kind of want to hold off until she gets back, which is kind of tough because I know it'll be a quick turnaround, but yeah, I have kind of downloaded all the floor plans and given her access and tried to annotate it as much as possible to make it useful, but it'll kind of be up to her to decide whether that's what she wants or not.
Ellison, have you talked to Rachel about this yet?
About this project?
Well, the floor plan part.
Oh,
You
no, I
mentioned that the
haven't.
LiDAR would be an option, because I plan on
Yeah.
doing a scan of my home
Uh-huh.
just to do it, so we have it, and that way we can kind of see what the timing is for getting that done. And then also I have to apologize to Dom, because I said I was going to send you that link to the thing that I was looking at for the CDPHE project, at least for getting like square footage and things like that. I'll
Uh-huh.
also do that today. But yeah, so I don't know, Ellison, if you thought of any more about that, or if you've had time to think about that when we kind of briefly brought up using the LiDAR scanner for this.
I have thought about it, and I am capable of it, I think, involving Rachel. She has a lot of interest in continuing to work in our group, so I have not had the conversation with her. I'm really glad you reminded me that I should.
Well, I mean, like I told Dom, there's no hassle to getting this scan done because the
Right.
homes are so small. It'll be done so quick. I
Yeah.
think the only time restraint or, bandwidth would be to get it actually processed to say like, oh, here's your file. This is the square footage of this home or whatever, or each room or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah, and I think I don't see any reason right now. We are not so over committed on the CDPHE like throughput that we couldn't ask Rachel to weave that in.
Okay.
That's my feeling on it. And so I think what probably makes more sense is just to figure out what the lead time is we want on each floor plan, Dom. Like, if we can do the scan at the first visit, then, my expectation is that she would have up to 6 weeks to finish one for a home, assuming like a tear down is within 4 to 6 weeks. And then data, aggregation and management cleaning would happen thereafter. So
Yeah.
I can just talk with Rachel, maybe every month we just check in. So September, October, November, there are a certain number of homes that need to be done. Does that seem reasonable?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of why I wanted, before Tammy was gone, to kind of get some idea of what she wanted for the benefits of kind of the floor plan, or figuring out what the square footage was. Because if it's something that needs to be done for like a calculation that we're doing like pre-analysis, then the turnaround might need to be faster. But from everything I've gathered, it seems to be kind of more of a context thing. When we're going back and looking at the data, we can kind of look back at something to see, oh, why are we seeing these kind of spikes? Was there a bathroom fan there? If there's something else. So it seems to be a kind of after the fact thing. So the turnaround I don't think that should be a problem at all.
Okay, and I'll try and get that done this weekend. That way I can at least have something for you to share with her. It wouldn't be the finalized floor plan that Rachel gets done, but I can at least show you what it would look like. And I think I'm just thinking about this now, another benefit of doing this is you're able to see basically a 3D model of the home without ever being there. So you're getting able to see a lot of features of the home that you wouldn't really be able to capture necessarily with pictures, or using pictures in addition to it really kind of clear up those lines that might be a little blurry when trying to think about like, oh, what did this room look like? Or like you said, kind of answering some of those questions of why we see some differences.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And the other thing, because I agree with you 100%, Will, I think it is super valuable for adding a high fidelity layout of the home to interpret results. I also think something that I've had in mind since I purchased the LiDAR scanners for the other project is that it would facilitate creating a model of the home in Contam, which is a modeling platform for indoor air and ventilation that is unprecedented with other, or not unprecedented, but unachievable with, although maybe not with the tool that you described and tools that have been emerging like that, but I'd say 3 or 4 years ago, maybe, without a scanner like this, you couldn't really get a good model into Contam, at least without a lot of work. So this is a nice way to like have on hand something that you could use for modeling work, or a future student could. And like Will had pointed out, I think well before, it's a relatively low burden in the field data acquisition. It's not as onerous as some other things.
I agree. I think it'd be a good tool to have. Good thing to have. Always, that's kind of Tammy's. Rather have it and not need it. So yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
actually, I'll do a scan of my home, Dom, and then when we come back, I'll kind of show you how to do it. That way you get a feel for doing it as well. And that might kind of add more comfortability to a potential new tool to use for it, for the project.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
And I think that turnaround time talk just reminded me of another thing that we never fully settled in one of the group meetings. So I just wanted to confirm that just if you're sending out these consent forms and scripts, since we can change them without having to submit them back to the IRB, just definitely read through them and make sure they match what the final decisions were, because this was submitted back in June, and I know we've had a lot of conversations that each of us gets kind of a part of. So I think for right now, it says our monitoring duration is 4 to 6 weeks. So I know if y'all have discussed that on the back end, that it'll be different, just, change that or be more vague, just so that we're not, giving anybody incorrect information, because that's when people get more annoyed than anything.
That makes sense. I'll take another peek at it for sure.
All right. I don't have anything else on my mind or agenda for this discussion.
Yeah, if there's anything, feel free to email any questions. I'll be in contact with Will too, just with some of the other housekeeping stuff. Yeah, I don't think I have too much other than that. I'm still kind of in contact with Tammy every once in a while whenever she has Wi-Fi, so I'll bring any comments or questions she had too. So
Okay. Yeah, I would just say, I find that, I don't know, maybe this has shifted over time, and Will, you can tell me if I'm inaccurate, but I would try really hard to be responsive to anything that comes up last minute. I think right before things get busy in the field there's always things that go unanticipated, and setting up a, hour-long meeting and getting schedules to align is not necessary if it's urgent or it's critical to like, I need to do something today so that we can do what we need to on the 22nd. Like a phone call or a text is easier for me to make sure I respond to, but just don't be shy about those things. It's not worth delaying when going live in the field is like imminent.
that's good to hear. I'll definitely come with any questions or anything that comes up for sure.
And Will, if you think the manometer clicking would be useful, and I know we don't have Tammy's video or recording, since you have experienced it, I think you can record it as well.
Yeah, I think part of it, I always forget the term of it, but what is like the people who like get annoyed by noises very easily? There's like a term for it.
Symphonia.
Yeah, it's that's why I didn't think of it, because I think that's just me, because it's just like there's certain noises that bother me. I'm like, do you guys hear that? And people are like, I don't hear anything. I'm like, okay, it's just me. It's fine.
Yeah, no, everyone me, Tammy, and now you, everyone has made note of it. So it seems to be, it's not just you for sure.
Well, I will say from my perspective, knowing that about myself, it doesn't annoy me. It's just something I'll I'll just all of a sudden be aware of. And then, like you said, I get zoned back out into like Netflix or whatever. And I'm like, I forget about it.
I think it's worth mentioning though, because 18% of people have it. And also if you end up with, I don't know, maybe you have a child in the home that's exceptionally sensitive to things like that, then it might be useful, or might have a disorder or anything that makes it worse. So definitely let them know that in advance is better than, them getting it and being like, come get it out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely be upfront about it. And I think that stat definitely holds true because of all the sites that we've set up for the CDPG project, only one person has ever asked us to remove a QTrack because the fan is too noisy, which it's not, but you know.
Yeah, they have that super sensitive hearing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you
Yep.
guys. Appreciate
Yeah,
you guys
thanks
seeing the.
for holding the meeting and letting the conversation sort of span a range of topics.
Absolutely. I will let you guys go.
Weekend ahead of you.
Yeah, see you guys soon.
Bye, everyone.
All
Bye
right.
now.